How to be kind to yourself throughout your day-to-day life. We are talking about 2 helpful tips that anyone can do to start being kind to yourself throughout your day that can help switch your mindset, to help switch your energy in moments time. So hello to those of you that are joining live. Hello to those of you that are watching the replay. I love for you all to put reactions. I love for you all to comment, to engage. So I will ask you to do so throughout this Instagram live. So as we are growing, as we are shifting in our life, as you are praying and you are taking action and you are working on yourself and you're investing in personal development and you're hiring the mentors, you're hiring the coaches, you're exploring the different tools, you're exploring the different work that's being taught. When your goals happen in your 3D, it can be very common for things to shift. And what I mean by that is that when you finally get the investment or you finally have the healthy relationship or you finally hire the team, whatever it is, there can be pieces within yourself that start to judge that as wrong or start to judge other things that come up within yourself based on previous conditions that you went through to try to keep you safe. So what we're going to explore today is two ways that you can remain kind to yourself as you achieve your goals, because it's important for you to the best of your ability to enjoy the blessings that God presents you with. It's important to enjoy, and to live it and to feel it and to be it. So I'm going to provide you with an example and a part of why we're talking about this today, because it is happening to me. So this past week, I invested in my first real estate property, which was very, very exciting and something that it's so beautiful. So I'm very thankful for that. I went on this beautiful trip to one of my favorite places. I just was soaking in the luxury and the ease and being in my feminine energy and just receiving. And then yesterday I hired on a team. So there is now officially a Verde, not officially, but there's a Verde team that is here and that will help us and scale and do all the things. So these are things in different ways that I felt within myself or that I prepped within myself for at least a year to 2 years. And so now that it's finally here, I noticed within myself some other things come up. And what I feel is happening within me is an integration of all different parts of me. And so with that, it's very common for us to judge when previous things come up that we might want to explore or experience again, or when we are, for some of you, when you finally receive the thing, maybe there's a lot of judgment onto yourself that you are going to be a rude person or you're not going to be as kind anymore, or you're not going to anchor into your values, or you're not going to uphold your word, and there can be all of this fear that can come up throughout this. So these 2 tips that we're going to go into are very helpful for you as you start to achieve your goals and as you start to live the life that you want, as you start to live the life that you're co-creating with God. Because as I've heard God tell me, which I want to tell you, and that I've also heard in a soul reading, is that you're meant to enjoy where you are right now. You're meant to enjoy the life that you're creating. You're meant to enjoy this journey. And as you experience this new level of where you are, it's important to enjoy it, and it's important to the best of your ability to soak it all in. So Number one, I want you guys to put some comments in if you resonate with this, so that way anyone that is on live or watching this replay, you know that you're not alone, because we all experience this. We all do this in different ways, and it's going to show up and reflect to different people in different ways. So no one is alone in this way. So one of the first things that you can do to anchor into more kindness, to be more kind to yourself, and why this is important, which we'll get into, is that it's so much healthier and it feels so much more energizing and fun and good, right? Go ahead and pop it in the comments when you feel good within yourself, when you feel excited within yourself, when you feel that you can look at yourself in the mirror and feel love, and you can feel joy, and overall your mindset is experiencing, you feel more ease, right? Go ahead and type me if you really resonate with that, if you really enjoy that, versus hate or judgment onto yourself as you look at yourself in the mirror, or critiquing or fatigue, right? Go ahead and pop me if you really resonate with that, of wanting to experience more ease, of wanting to experience more love as you look at yourself, as you enjoy what's happening, right? It's like, of course, we want to experience that. So one of the ways to be more kind to yourself is imagine speaking to a child. Imagine speaking to your own children the way that you would speak to yourself. Imagine speaking to your younger versions of you, the version of you that is 40, that's 30, that's 20, 10, 5. Imagine how you would talk to them. And it's probably a lot different than how you talk to yourself now. So have a conversation. That's what I do. I have a conversation with mainly my 5-year-old version of me almost every single day. And I talk with her and I check in with her before I take a cold shower to regulate myself. I check in with her if she's feeling some fear. And I ask her, I say, how are you feeling? And if she's having some weariness, we'll kind of talk about it. And then she'll give me a thumbs up and we move forward and we proceed, because your inner child, the younger versions of you, are not meant to rule your life, or they're meant to be heard. They can be in the driver's seat of your vehicle. They can be in the vehicle, but you and God and co-creation, your highest self to the best of your ability, get to be in the driver's seat. Now, maybe sometimes what your inner child wants to do is a combination of what you feel is aligned for you to do as well. So there gets to be that flow and that beauty there. But overall, imagine speaking to the younger version of you. And if that's hard, again, imagine speaking to a child that you know in the way that you speak to yourself. And watch that start to shift your life. Watch how you get to enjoy more of your life. Watch how you get to experience more ease, depending on how you speak to yourself and what comes through with you as you speak with God. So that's one of the first ways to experience more kindness in your life, is by how you talk to yourself. How you talk to yourself, because how you talk to yourself, and well, that's going to be a whole different conversation we can get into. So that's one of the first things. Second thing to experience more kindness in your day-to-day life is to allow yourself to try. To allow yourself to try. Now, what I mean by this is that as we're growing, as we're shifting, there might be things that we're pulled to do that we either gave up or didn't do anymore. And there can be a lot of judgment onto ourselves of either having that craving or having that desire, or wanting to try it out and see, based on who you are now and how that works for you. So if you're feeling a pull towards it, can you allow yourself to try something without as much judgment? And if it doesn't feel good for you after you do it, can you also know that throughout the process, by you doing it and by you listening to yourself, if it doesn't feel good, that you don't do it anymore? Can you allow yourself to trust that process? Because oftentimes how we learn, if you're anything like me, is through, and what it talks about in human design, is that line 3 energy, the trial and error. So being able to try things out, being able to see, how does this feel for me? How does this work for me? How does this work based on who I'm becoming, based on the life that I'm co-creating with God, based on the life that I want? How does this feel for me? And oftentimes we can get stuck in the story versus if we just try it, knock it out in a day, see how it resonates for us, and then move from there, there can be more progress that happens with that. So it can be very easy after this to want to judge yourself, to want to shame yourself if you try something and it doesn't work for you, meaning that it just doesn't align with your energy, it doesn't feel healthy, it just doesn't feel good. Like we're all smart, and you can feel that within yourself of something that you're like, okay, I tried this, doesn't feel as healthy, doesn't feel as good for me. There can be a lot of judgment that comes up within ourselves. What I think is really helpful is that we learn from it, and that we also give ourselves kindness in that. So again, speaking to yourself as though you are a child, or speaking to a child, and giving yourself kindness that you tried it, you felt that it wasn't great for you, and now you're going to move forward with something else. And that gets to be the direction of how you flow, because when you're in a new season in your life, when you're in a new level of your life, when you're in a new transformation, there are going to be things that you try out and see how they work for you, because we don't have all the answers. And so trust that as you're trying these new things and you give yourself love and you listen to yourself when it doesn't feel as great for you anymore, meaning that it doesn't feel healthy, it doesn't feel like the life that you want, can you trust yourself? Because trust is built over time by doing these things and listening to yourself. Can you trust yourself to know that as you do these different things, that you will listen and you won't proceed forward with them in this season of your life, or in your life in general anymore? So those are 2 helpful tips that you can do to start experiencing more kindness in your life and in your day-to-day. And this is really important because especially as you are growing, as you're shifting, as you're evolving, which if you're listening to this, if you're watching this replay, you are doing, or maybe you're at a new level and it can feel like you're trying to get your bearings and you're trying to get your feet on the ground. Trust that it will all come with due time from God. Trust that a lot of how you explore this season in your life is by trial and erroring, of seeing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and being able to use discernment, being able to trust yourself to see, this does not feel healthy for me anymore, I don't want to do it, or this doesn't feel as good for me anymore, I don't want to do it, or okay, cool, this actually really does feel great for me in regards to the life that I want to live based on who I want to be, and it feels healthy for me, so I'm going to proceed forward with this. Oftentimes we don't know unless we try. So can you trust yourself to try and give yourself grace if it doesn't work in this season, because you tried it, and now it's one more check box off your list that you tried it. And it's a lot easier to give yourself grace and to give yourself love as you try it versus beating yourself up in the process, because it's really easy to want to beat yourself up in the process or to want to fixate, but you also didn't know, and that's why you tried it. And so notice it's not me saying you keep trying it and try 10,000 different times, you don't learn. It's that you trust yourself, you see how you felt throughout it. And maybe it's a few times, but you trust yourself throughout it. And you trust yourself that you don't want to do it again, or that you don't want to do it in your life, or you don't want to do it in this season. And that's healthy for you. I hope that this was helpful. Go ahead and comment how this was for you, some of your main takeaways from this. It was short, sweet, to the point. I hope that you all have a beautiful day. I hope that wherever you are in your life, you experience ease, you experience peace, you experience kindness in your life. Give yourself love, give yourself grace, because you're deserving of that. Be kind to yourself. And I hope that you all have a beautiful, beautiful day. See you guys.